Welcome everyone to today's Monday Masterclass this week. And this evening actually, we have the beautiful Vanessa Jean with us. I just love her. But I also, I just have so much gratitude for her presence, for the love and joy that she brings in just her beingness, let alone the messages of love and light and wisdom from many ages that she brings through and shares with the world, and the legacy that she leaves in every life that she touches, including mine. So I'm really delighted to have her here tonight with us and to be playing with you in this conversation today. This was just woven together, so it's going to be a beautiful dance. It's going to be a beautiful dance, which is the best way we work anyway. So so as you all join, I'm just going to ask you to mute yourself. I'll mute you as much as I can, but if you could mute yourselves, that would be amazing, just to keep the audio is nice and clear. So I'm going to, I titled this Love and Creation, and I titled it because they're things that I see that Vanessa masters in her life, or perhaps it's something that it's the footprint that I see she leaves for me as a reflection, but also for many that I know. So this evening is really inviting conversations about what is most up for Vanessa right now in terms of what she's really wanting to master, perhaps even in her own life, or what she's mastering, bringing through for others as well in her work. So I'm going to pass on the stick to you, beloved.
So the stick that I'll pick up is peace, because I'm going to lead in a different way than most of you are used to, and that is this. So Anastasia messages me today to create, of which I said yes straight away, not realizing she meant an event like this, thinking we were just going to have a chat on the phone. That's actually what I thought we were doing. So then little Ariel was not feeling well tonight, so I was getting ready to curl into bed with her, and I thought, it's just before 6, better let my sister know that, maybe let's postpone it. Send her the message, and I thought, hang on a minute, this feels a bit bigger than I thought. So I'm trying to call her, then I'm calling my brother Zach, and I'm just trying to get in touch. I said, Paul, I think this is more than just a call with Anastasia and I. So then I thought, I've just got to get on her page. She'll surely have something on there. And then I see my picture and a night of this. So I was like, Paul, he's like, onto it, babe. What is in your office? I've got Ariel, you do your thing. So he's just gone, you might want to change your top, because I had a squidgeny scarf and tracky top, and I was all down and tuck it in because it's wintry here in Perth. So then I was like, peace. And Frankie boy all over me and down my gusset. So it's interesting that you say, sister, around this mastery, because I really feel like for all of us, we're still incarnate, right, as these humans. And the idea of mastery is almost comical, because as humans, we can only, I guess, make a commitment to ourselves and to the energy of life itself to be the best version of ourselves in any given moment. And what presented in this moment was, I said yes to showing up for my sister. And even if I didn't realize what that was about, the yes was made, the commitment was made. So I found a way to create for that. So I went from frazzled and totally confuzzled, like Pooh Bear, into a place of, okay, I'm here, I've arrived, what do I need to be in this moment? So I wanted to share that with you all, because I find that a lot of us are running hither and thither to workshops, to creating, to trying to reach a certain level in our business, be that rank, be that financial, be that this whole fantasy realm of creating balance, work-life balance. Ha! I love what Paul says, my husband, for those of you that don't know him. Paul Ovens is my beloved and partner in Bistro Terra business with me. And he says, if you want balance, put it on your next LRP. And I really love that, right? Because it takes that pressure off of feeling you have to create balance. And there's this urgency that comes with the pressure of us trying to be the master or mistress of everything, including balance. It's not going to happen. So all I would say to you is go do lines of oils. Go swimming in a vat of peace if you need to. Put a drop of Frankie Boy under your tongue if you need to, and then come back into the present moment with the next breath and the new you. Does any of that make sense?
Totally. Totally. Yes. Thank you.
So just a reminder to the newbies that have jumped on, Anastasia's just asking if you can all mute yourselves just so that the sound is really crisp as she's recording this. Okay, so where are we moving to, Anastasia? Where are you feeling we can give most in this moment to the group?
Something that I would love to ask you is, you know, you are so known for being, you know, the messenger of love, the you know, the embodiment of love. You bring love to everything that you do. And yeah, I like to ask questions in these conversations around perhaps for people who haven't had that influence in their life or haven't had that message in their life or are feeling the calling to bring more of that into the way that they live or the way that they be or how they actually create. You know, what was it for you that brought you into that space? And, you know, are there things that you do every day that bring you there, or has that been something that you've cultivated over time and now that just is your default? Yeah, just to kind of how to begin stepping into that space if you're not feeling in that space right now in your life.
That's really beautiful. So it definitely has become my default, I can say that. I guess that example that I gave right at the beginning of Zoom is fitting because it was a very conscious decision to return to love, come out of the confusion, the potential to go into a frenetic energy of how can I show up in this? How can I be inspiring when I'm just thinking about my daughter and I need to be there for her, right? So I take it away from that moment, create a solution in a space of love, which is her amazing daddy, being able to stand in that moment and deliver, me going in and acknowledging, sweetheart, I love you. And thank you for understanding. I'm sorry this has happened. And coming into this place of now, this space, me being able to deliver freely. So what I'm saying is at any moment, I believe that we just make a choice to return to love. What does that look like? What does that feel like? Well, it's different for each of us. But in a general way, if you can imagine it as this full expansion, because love is an expanded place. I really believe that anything that doesn't come from love comes from fear. It's something that, you know, really has resonated with me from the first moment I came across that concept in my teens, both with my father and you asked my influences. It's been my dad, his amazing parents, and Marianne Williamson with A Course in Miracles. And I guess from that, I've just had everything come together that just keeps representing for me what the embodiment of love is. When we walk through life, we're faced, being humans and incarnate as humans, we're faced with a lot of density, beginning both with our own form and then the physical plane upon which we all live, this earth plane that's very dense. So how do we then move from a place of the potential of being caught up in density to entering a space of expansion and timelessness and spacelessness. How do we do that? Breathing. The breath is a phenomenal way for us to do this. We've been given this as an instrument and a gift from God, Goddess, the universe, whatever the belief is, but this is from creation. We can use it. So a simple exercise of just breathing in and just letting out a... And that's how I do it. That's what works for me. But I got to tell you, when I'm around Zach, Anastasia's beloved, and he lets out his extended it's glorious. It's beautiful. So I would say to you, release in the way that feels good for you. I really love toning to bring me back to that place of love. And if you all try it now, if you take a deep breath and we let out an as a tone, are you up with it? You ready for me? Let's do it together. So if we just take a deep breath in. So, you know, I can see your faces and a lot of you aren't doing it. Let's try it again. So now we can make it sound, so rather than just a breath, not just, breathing is amazing, but we can actually make it like an elongated vowel sound. So like an om, but this is going to be an ah. And the reason I love to work with ah, because it works really beautifully with the heart. It aligns with the heart energy. There's no religious affiliation for us, so there's often no blocks for humans to do this. It's a really beautiful one to do with your children, with your beloved, to come back in a space of love together, and in yourself to come just into that space of creation from love. So it just goes something like this. And you can do that as many times as you feel the need. You can do it on the toilet if you just need a moment to just stop, right? Whatever it is, love yourselves enough to return to love. So you can choose to bemoan the world, or you can choose to come into expansion and receive her gifts. Her gifts. Did you like that? There's lots of gifts, you see, so the gifts. Even though for me I feel totally blessed that I had a divine upbringing, totally surrounded in love and blissed out, I had massive challenges. I was constantly faced with looking into the illusion every day that my mother didn't love me or that I wasn't good enough. It was constant there for me. And yet I chose to count my blessings rather than my sorrows. That doesn't mean I didn't feel sorrow or grief or contraction around it. I most certainly did. Absolutely I did. But I made a choice. I chose actually every day to give thanks for the beautiful women she brought into my life that were my other mothers. I chose to give thanks for my amazing father and his soul's wisdom for choosing his parents as parents, because I got them as my second parents, my nonna and nonno. My mum's mum was an angel and still is. She's actually transcended the earth plane and still with me. Two incredible aunties, one from mum, her sister, and one from dad. And then my ultimate second mother, Bernadette, who was mum and dad's best friend. She'd been around me since before I was born, actually, and my soul recognized her instantly, and I always felt like she was an incredible mother in my life. So my point of sharing so intimately with you is though it looks like, and I know a lot of people say, oh, it's Vanessa Jean and she just knows and she's just got it down, and whatever projection that is, what I would say to you is I made a choice. Sometimes I broke down crying and I bought into the contraction or the fear or the illusion of not being loved. And other times, most of the time, especially from my 20s on, I really chose that return to love very consciously. There was a book I read and reread and would listen to on replay all the time on my way to uni through my years there, and it's called Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Bengoles. And she's a phenomenal storyteller. And I know a lot of you will have been exposed to her. And if you haven't, look her up. She is the storyteller of storytellers. And I grew up with storytelling, and she's so sung to my soul. So I would do things like that. I'd listen to Marianne Williamson and A Course in Miracles. I would listen to Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra. I was so blessed. My dad took me to these phenomenal, I guess you'd call them personal development days. It was like the Hay House days at the time. And I got to meet and hang out with Wayne Dyer, and I met Marianne Williamson and Stuart Wilde and Deepak and these amazing people. And that was thanks to my dad, Caroline Mace, Jean Houston. He was like, send me a text. So I'm going out for coffee with Jean. Would you like to come join us? He was just like constantly putting me in the position of most possibility, constantly reminding that it's a choice. We can choose expansion or we can choose contraction. Now, remembering also from contraction comes great birth, right? And a friend of mine just reminded me of this analogy recently. Her partner had kind of put it out there. And I thought about it. I thought about these delicious beings that we bring into the world. Now, whether you physically birthed a being or not, I'm talking about the being of, a business, of a child, of the beloved that you birthed through, the one that you've been waiting for all your life. The being that is the new rank maybe that you are dreaming and allowing yourselves to dream big into, right? Whatever it is, we go into contraction. We need to have those birthing pains, yeah? And then there's a moment where the waters break. And it all goes to water. And you feel your legs go to jelly. And your mind just drops. It goes with that water and you're like, whoop! Where am I? What am I doing? And really, did I sign up for this? And then something else starts to happen. And then the next thing starts to happen. And then the next and the next. And if you think about birthing, there's that moment of crowning, right? That crowning and that burn. And if you look at your life and look at where that crowning was, that burn point, and you decided to keep going because you knew how worth it was going to be. You knew you deserved this. You knew that life, that succulent thing that you were creating, that you were bringing into being, deserved to come out and be birthed into the world. The path isn't necessarily easy. However, we can call on ease and grace for it. So forget about easy. Focus instead on energy of creation and trusting that the how comes through from the universe, from that higher intelligence. All we need to do is put out the what it is we're choosing to create and align with the universe to create in that way. Does that make sense? The how is taken care of by the universal forces, that higher wisdom, which is your own higher wisdom, because it's the part of you that's already doing it. Did I just fry your brain? We go into timelessness. We go into spacelessness. Is there a word for that, Anastasia? Is that a real word? It's like that place where it ceases to exist. It's that moment between breaths where pure consciousness has an opportunity to jump out into the world as the being beyond your mind or in the physical realm. And when you choose in on creating and delivering from that space, your whole world will change. It's going to flip on its head and you're going to create beyond anything you ever dreamed possible. And that's why we say to you, dream big, dare to dream big. That's why we say to you, get in touch with your passions. Fire and ignite that brain of yours. There's neural pathways, recreate new ones. Stop dropping into that old patterning, that old conditioning. It doesn't serve you anyway, right? Right? Because the body's going to automatically go into that and take you back to that. Whereas your soul's calling is going, let's step into something new. Can we choose the light now? Are you ready for that? Are you ready to be expanded, to deliver in this world beyond anything that you could ever materialize from the fabric of this 3D realm? Are you ready for that? Are you ready to just dive so deep, to crack everything open, to dig deep and get beyond the density and be the light that your soul and creator always intended for you? Are you ready for that? Because I tell you what, it takes more courage than you can imagine. It takes way more courage to step beyond the status quo and to become, really become, like becoming, and stepping into who you are truly meant to be. And when you're choosing that, you're only in love. Love is the only thing that exists. It doesn't mean that you don't get a little bit, shitty sometimes, or you get annoyed or even angry. I still rage at the world with some things. Needless killings and, the sex trafficking industry and whale harpoon. My biggest is, the harpooning of whales and the killing of dolphins needlessly, in Taiji and all that stuff. And oh my gosh, I can boil up and erupt like Vesuvius over stuff like that, over injustice to children, injustice in the world. And it was my beautiful husband that reminded me once. He said, baby, I get where you're coming from. I understand your heart in this. I know what you're like. And would you be open to, see, we don't just use that in our doTERRA business, we use it with each other, but it was very much, would you be open to considering another way? Maybe not immersing yourself so deeply in it that you take on the whole pain of the whole world and all the worlds. And it was that moment, that turning point where I went, and I re-asked myself, what legacy am I creating? What legacy do I choose to leave behind? Is this it? Is this actually the energy of creation? Is this actually love? Is this sitting in a place of unconditional love? It's not. It's sitting in a place of judgment. So we can all be wherever we want. Sometimes it's fun to just rage. Rage for a moment, rage for 2, rage for 10. I wouldn't recommend staying there though. Just let it out. If you need to go beat up a pillow or scream into a pillow or, go howl under the moon or go for a run or go for a walk. You giggle, but it's true. This stuff makes a difference. If you haven't howled under the moon and been like a wolf, let me tell you, it's great. Go out and beat on your drum or play an instrument or play this instrument to serve, to express that which would otherwise lie unexpressed, to allow yourself to crack that open, to dissolve that which no longer serves you, and to come into a state of being that actually serves you and serves the world. Because in that moment and in that way, you will make a difference. All of you, when you share your whys, you want to make a difference. That's what they all boil down to. You want to make a difference. You want to touch lives. You want to empower women. You want to empower men. You want women to be able to stand up for herself, heal herself, children to make solutions, natural solutions for themselves in rollerballs and all these cute things we do. It all amounts to the same. But if we can bring it back to the true core, the true seed planted in every single why, you will find therein the return to love. Because it's the only place a why can truly be lived and truly be fulfilled, is in a place of love. And that's how we step fully into our service for the world. Does that make sense? Yeah. Anastasia, darling, what else? Did that even ask me for?
Yeah. It was perfect. Yeah, we've had little Tatiana could feel your energy. I wanted to come say hello.
Hi, Tia.
So yeah, something that I think it's such an important thing to talk about and a conversation to have is about when we aren't in those places that we perceive to be a place where things, where life is. We perceive where life is in the joy and the love and the happiness and the you know, fulfillment and the ease and, you know, all of that. And I think through our societal conditioning of particularly media and marketing, really, where there's this picture painted that everything is, that's how life is, and that's what you should be aiming for. And then when things aren't looking like that in your life, there's this sense of judgment that I'm not getting it right, I'm not doing it, I'm not loving it, I'm not lovable enough. Like, why is it, you know, there's this kind of, is what I witness and see is that why is it that, you know, I'm not experiencing, sorry, somebody's not muted. Well, yeah.
Everyone, please make sure they're on mute.
Yeah, keep yourselves on mute. Is there's this sense of, you know, there can be a sense of disillusionment. And, you know, I share from my own experience, but also from what I witness and just being in contact with and connection with so many people. And this disillusionment in life, because we seem to be conditioned to moving forward, leaning into this idea of what is life. But really, from witnessing, is that life is all of it. Like what you were saying, life is, and love is all of it. Love is not just the beautiful soft pink and ooziness. Like, love is everything. And yeah, so I just kind of wanted to bring that into the conversation and hear what your thoughts are about that, or your feelings. Because, yeah, when you talked about the balance, which, you know, this idea that we have everything perfectly balanced, and I'm perfectly rested and perfectly creative and perfectly, you know, in service, and you know, like, it's just quite a laugh, actually.
And you'll become a squillionaire.
Yeah, that's right. That is the $1 trillion question. But
I really loved, Anastasia, I loved what you said to me once, and we were having this conversation on balance, and you stood up and you had your hands out, and you're like, it's like walking on a tightrope, and you're readjusting. You move a little bit forward, you move a little bit back, and then you tweak it this way, and then you got to tweak it that way. And I hold that image, and I find that really profound, because you're constantly tweaking, because that pivot point of balance alters constantly. Because one moment, like right now, this is balance, right? This is it. We're here, we're taking a moment. Dadia's got one of her children on her lap. You know, someone else is trying to do something else. You know, this is it. You're juggling stuff going on over there with Tatiana, feeling, you know, me on here. And that's the balance. That's the balance in that moment, right? So, and when you talk about, you know, what love can be, I guess, perceived to be, you know what, I find it's really much easier if we just make it simple. Do you as well? Like, it's like, let's just make a choice right now. What do we choose to call in? And if we need to sit a little longer in that frustration, or that, you know, I just want to have a tanty right now, I don't want that, I don't. Why can't it just be easier? You know, I was meant to go, you know, and get a new car this month, or be diamond this month, or, you know, find that amazing new leader in my tree this month. And I just want to cry because I've been putting out for 6 months and nothing's materializing. Like, throw that tanty, let it release, you know, better out than in. Yeah. What I'm saying is let's not dwell in it. Let's not dwell there. I find that really overindulgent. Does that make sense? Like, I'm just like, seriously, how long do we need to stay there? And whenever I've extended my stay and overindulged in these emotions, oh boy, oh my Lord, it ain't pretty. You know, no matter how much I get down on bended knee and I'm praying to God, or I'm praying to the goddess, nothing's happening because I'm blocking it. I'm blocking it because I'm so busy being angry or frustrated or hurt. Like my thing is taking things on board, right? Take it personally. Oh my gosh, I've hurt them. I haven't done enough for them, or whatever they're, and I'm like, oh gosh, what can I do to fix that? And I'll take it really personally. So the longer I stay in that, the more contracted I become, the less I'm creating. Because I'm just seeing then everything in my world mirror that, because that's all I'm putting out. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So it's like I become really conscious of what is it that I choose to call forth in my life, and putting my energy into really focusing on that which I call to call in, and I just make sure I'm always aligning it in that place in my heart, and I'm breathing it into my heart, and as I do that, I can't help but feel joyous and full of wonder at it, and full of gratitude at it, because when I'm doing it, I always feel like I've got it already. Do you as well, Anastasia? It's like, oh my gosh, and you're in love again. You're in love with life, and you rise in love. You keep rising in love. It's not a falling. It's actually a rising in love. And you rise and you bring it all up into the heart space. Out of the lower centers, there's nothing wrong with the lower centers, but I'm saying you take it out of the lower centers, which is around your survival and, flight, fight stuff occurs down there, and you bring it up into this, and you feel the wings of your heart unfurl. Now, I'm going to ask you, what would that be like if you consciously chose, moment to moment, to return home to love? It's not outside of you. You can spend 20 gazillion badillion dollars on retreats and courses and books and all of that, and nothing will change in your life until you consciously choose to return to love. And you can say, well, it's all well and good for you to say, and you just grew up in this, and you blah, 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 blah. Notice the projections. Notice the judgments. It's not easy for anyone to stay in a space of love. Now, I look at Anastasia and I go, oh my gosh, I just love her, my sister, this gorgeous goddess. She's this ephemeral, floating, yummy goddess. I know what she's come from. I know the story that she could choose to attach herself to. I know the hardship she could choose to attach her to. She doesn't. Some moments, though, it comes up and it rears its head, her story, my story, that we could say is hers or mine, but we just choose in the next breath, or maybe 10 breaths away, wherever that is, to go, oh, hang on a minute, oops, I was buying into something and owning it as my story, and it's not. It's not my story. I'm recreating a story every day of my life. What are you going to weave into the fabric of the universe? That's what I want to know. What are your passions? What are you passionate about? What makes your heart sing? What has you feeling liberated from the density of form, of matter? Are you going to create from that density? Or are you going to create from formlessness? Are you going to create from that divine spark? When we talk about love and creation, that's the divine spark. That's divinity. You are divinity. That divine spark that lies in me, lies in Anastasia, lies in you. And we are all deeply touched and moved by it, because in our innate state, we remember that all that is real is love.
Mm-hmm.
And I cut you off, sister. I got so excited on something. I'm just going to highlight the tightrope example, and then I kept going. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. Oh,
I love your inspiration, sister.
Thank God you're used to me by now.
Spirit just had to come through you right then in that moment. So I'm not arguing with that. It is, I just really love and resonate with that so much about, the choice of the matter, and that for me, just from hearing you talk about your story and what was the situation of you actually cultivating this as being your default state. And for me, something that I have been and continue to cultivate is the choice. And sometimes it is hard, and sometimes, as you said, we choose the tantrum, and sometimes, but what I feel is that the more that we choose, the more that we're aware that we're actually choosing the tantrum. It's like, instead of just like fully being in it and not really having that sovereignty over that moment, the more that we invite in choice. And sometimes for me that means just having like post-it notes around the house saying, what do you choose now? What do you choose now? What do you choose now?
Gorgeous. I love that.
Yeah, because it's the reality is that we can't control our circumstances, but we can have a degree of control over how we respond to them, or how we wish to show up in them. Because we may respond from, like what you're saying, Vanessa, the lower energy centers, and we're responding from that place of survival, as opposed to a place of how do I choose to love in this moment? How do I choose to, create and see the expansion, or exceed the, really beautiful wisdom that's coming to me, or the lessons that are coming to me. But yeah, that choice, and that cultivating that it then becomes your norm. And because it's interesting that I witness in myself that, like most people, we can be very hard on ourselves. And, I can often criticize myself for not being X, Y, or Z enough. And so many people come to me saying, well, you're so loving. You just love everyone. And I'm like, really? I don't notice it because it becomes my normal, but that's because it's something that I've cultivated over time by constantly being aware of the choice. And even just recently, it hasn't been that easy. I've felt more of a draw to go into that old pattern, old story. And it's like in those times I have to choose a lot more. There's like, the choices are more, close together every few minutes. But yeah, just like, I just wanted to kind of highlight even just my process around that as a student. When we mention mastery, and why I call it a masterclass, is that really the things that we're choosing to master are what we're really dedicated to being the student of. And so, yeah, I'm the student of love, and that I through me, it's just cultivating it. And I just, I get better at it each time. And the norm, it just kind of it's like infusion. It's like the oils, after the oils have been diffusing in a room for a while, you can't really smell them, because you've become one with that diffusion, that blend, that oil. And so the more that you cultivate that, the less you're going to notice it in your actual life, and it will just become your normal. Yeah.
Yeah, I think also what you reminded me of something as you were speaking that, and it was when you're talking about the story, and we can choose to buy in, and sometimes we need to, every minute be saying, am I choosing in love? What am I choosing right now? And, it's true, that's everyday life. And, I look at how many of us are from the same families, same parents, same grandparents, same everything. And you look at siblings and how differently they've responded to the world. And so some react, some respond, some are conscious, some are unconscious, all of that from same supposed circumstances. And I look back at that example I gave earlier, where I could have really spent all of my life, wasting my life just buying into that mum didn't love me. I mean, crazy, right? And I probably somewhere in my mind when I was a little girl said that to myself, made that assumption. man, this woman loves me so much. You know, if I didn't let myself be liberated and connect heart to heart with her, I would have missed out on all that love juice. I would have missed out on the glory and majesty that's her. My daughter would have missed out on that, and my amazing bonus son would have missed out on that, and my husband would have missed out on that. Oh, what a bereft life, right? So I'm hoping this makes sense to you all. This is real life stuff. You know, we all have stuff that comes up with parents, with siblings, with whatever. And there's stuff that happens. And we don't even need to go into the story of it. If we can look beyond that and really lift the veil and come back to, what am I going to choose in on right now? How in this moment can I make the most of it and choose in on love? See, because in me choosing in on love, guess what? I inspire others to do the same. And that's what Anastasia talks about, is where the student, we are in this classroom, or people call it a school of life. For me, it's like classroom to classroom. You know, each room I enter has this different message and different lesson, and some kind of feel prickly and others are a little easy to take, and others are completely joyous. But see, if we believe in the premise that the universe only gives us what we can handle in any given moment, and that we teach what we need to learn most, it puts some things into perspective, right? It equips us more with the confidence needed, the courage needed, the bravery needed to live in this, the density of the humanoid existence. You know, humans love to complicate things. Love to complicate things. Oh my goodness, I don't get you all at all. I'm like, wouldn't it make more sense just to keep it simple? Can we just keep it simple? And when I have a human moment, I like want to scatter out of there as fast as I can. It's really heavy. It's really heavy, guys. So something you can do to support yourselves is to really commune with the essential oils, and, you know, maybe have a talk to them before you use them. So, you know, you take something like the Console blend and you connect with the rose and the osmanthus in her, let's just say. And you just lift that lid and you breathe her in. And what would it be like if you just asked her for what you needed? What would it be like if, as you just rolled her over your upper heart center, the unconditional heart center, and then the lower heart, the heart chakra that everyone works with, what would it be like if you breathed in to consciously build a bridge between them, and to breathe it up into your throat so that all that you expressed was your truth? That you choose in this moment to give thanks for life, to say something like, I love life and life loves me. I express my truth with ease and grace. I choose love, breath by breath by breath. I choose expansion. I choose love. I choose to accept her gifts. I choose to unwrap her gifts, to deliver gifts of love to others, day by day by day. What would it be like if you stepped out of the quagmire of muck that you would otherwise allow yourself to wallow in, and chose to rise in love? Remember, we're rising, not falling in. We're rising in love, to breathe that right up and up and up. And then from that place there, the exhale occurs. And you breathe that into being. Can you imagine then what you will create in life? This dense form, everything for it dissolves. And instead you just become a beacon of light. You step into becoming more and more and more of that lightness, of that brightness. Pure unconditional love is not attainable. It's actually our natural state. We just need to choose in on it. So as you sit in the presence and majesty of love and her gifts, more and more each day, you will find yourself resting in that place, living in that place, dwelling in that place more and more each day. Something Anastasia asked me right in the beginning is, what do I do as a daily practice? I meditate. every single day. Now, life BC, which is before children, looked very differently for me. I was very much a little elf who just wanted to be in the forest all the time and meditated for hours and hours on end. And I loved it. And anywhere I was, wherever I was meditating, I always ended up in a forest. And I don't just mean a physical form. I mean, I could have been in a room in my apartment and I'd end up in a forest. And I would recharge my batteries and expand back into that place because that's like my homecoming. So do you have a place that you can just close your eyes and return to? Do you have a place that you can just sit in and be in the presence of love? I know for Anastasia and for Paul, it would more likely be the ocean. Zach and I scurry off to the forest. That's not to say they don't love the forest energy and trees. They do. But they are very conscious that their fullness is filled in ocean energy. Does that make sense? So what is it for you? What is it for you? What is it for you? How are you going to choose to fill your cup? Self-care has become this throwaway term. People are almost not even listening to it anymore. Right? What is self-care? It is the return to love. None of us have yet mastered it.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't. That's part of the fun. It's part of the fun. It's like finding new ways to rise in love, to fill your cup, so that your cup runneth over, that ye may give unconditionally, receive unconditionally, and the wings of your heart unfurl in that place. Now think of the legacy you're creating. See, because when you align with God, with the divine, with goddess, with spirit, source, universe, whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to, for those of you that don't know me, we're just going to say God. It's not a patriarchal thing. It's just easier than all the slashes, okay? So we're aligning with God, which is pure unconditional love. When we align consciously with that energy, we become, bam, expanded because we've ignited our flame, right? We've not just got this little ember going, the fire is rising. Everything in us aligns. So that sound I did with you earlier, that R sound, and like I said, you could do Om, you could do any of the vowels. You align, you align, you align. You lift your vibration so that everyone you meet simply lifts in their vibration by being in the presence of you. Is that not inspirational? Seek not to be inspired, but to inspire. Seek not to be inspired, but to inspire. It's not up to anyone else to get you there. It is for you to take yourself there. And as you align with this divine presence, with this higher intelligence, you go somewhere else. And the somewhere else you go is the return home to love. It's the removal of the density, the conscious choice to step out of Maya or the illusion and to step into what's true. And that, my dear friends, is Frankie Boy. That's frankincense. You want to work with him every day? You want to align with him every day? Do it consciously. Don't do it jokingly. This is divine grace in a bottle right here. Honor that. Honor him. And as you bow before the sacred king within you and you bow before the sacred queen within you, it enables you to do that with everyone you meet. That is respect. That has dignity. That is the true place of unconditional love. You are bowing before life, that ye may bring more life into being. The energy of creation can only come from the place of love. Creation serves. Creation fosters more growth. Remember what I said in the beginning, there are contractions that occur for life to come forth, right? So where are you contracting and where can you breathe through those contractions? Feel. See, because as you do that and you allow yourself to start to feel again, you'll take people on that journey. Unafraid. Most people are afraid to take others on a journey or to see others express and emote authentically because they're so afraid or uncomfortable with doing it themselves, right? How can you fully enter a sacred union with unconditional love if you're not willing to just enter it within yourself first? That's the sacred marriage. The marriage begins first with me, and then, if we choose, with another. Doesn't mean we've got it right all the time. And what's right or wrong anyway? When you stuff up and you have a moment, there's growth that comes from it, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Your beloved learns a new way of communicating, maybe, or you learn a new way of communicating, or you just go, sometimes I'll just go, and then I'll go up and I'll just hug him. And just go, thank you, baby, for just loving me in my cleanness. Thank you for holding me in that place. I'm sorry for being such a in that moment, but I love you. And I'm so blessed that you love me in all of that, right? And so I honor him for holding that space for me, but I don't make a big deal of staying in that space for too long. And I've told him, pull me out. If I'm staying in that dense crap and that human stuff for too long, just come on, baby, call me on it. Help shake, rattle, and roll me out of it, right? Because that's what love would do. So Paul and I always ask in any moment, whether it's in our relationship, whether it's with our children, our beautiful friends, our doTERRA business, we always ask, what would love do? And I want to tell you something. Sometimes what love would do isn't comfortable. It's not comfortable for you or for the person you're delivering the message to. It really isn't. It's interesting. We both had what we call in doTERRA a crucial conversation with a couple of people, and it's not comfortable. It's not comfortable for us. It's not comfortable for them, but it is love filled, and we do it because we love these people so much. You know, we bow to them, to their courage to go there, and we're humbled that we get to journey this with them. Same with our kids, man. Think about examples with your kids when you have those crucial conversations. Wow. You know, they want to kick and scream, and you want to kick and scream too internally. Like, really, do I have to deliver this? Can't I be the good parent that just kicks back and goes out and, I don't know, does fun stuff with them? Do I really have to deliver this life lesson right now? It doesn't feel good. You know, so in our lives, in your passions, in your chosen business, whatever that is, think about those moments that are crucial. They're pivot points. They are turning points, right? And in that moment, choose love. Always choose love. What would love say? What would love say? What would love say? If I'm the expression of love, what do I choose to be and do in this expression right now? Well, so first I need to choose to be expanded. First I need to choose to be comfortable to see my shadow stuff, whatever lies in the shadow. Does that make sense? And then I can dance with what lies in the shadow, so that when that appears in someone else, it's not so difficult to swallow, it's not so difficult to take, because I don't take it personally, or I don't take it on board, or whatever it is for you. Yeah, it won't contract you every single time. Maybe sometimes it does. It does me still. This is something that I'm still in the classroom for. Not taking everything personally, or not feeling like, you know, maybe I've got to save them all, or, you know, whatever. But that's a big one for me. I've gone past caring if people like me now. I don't have to have everyone like me. I'm really good with that now. I'm cool with that. You don't have to like me. I'm just going to love you anyway. But I'm still not quite there on the whole, this is really uncomfortable. Oh my gosh, am I bringing pain to them? Kind of thing. So that's where I'm at in my journey right now. Just kind of being able to deliver something in love, and hearing them not feeling that love or receiving it because they're not there. They're right thick in the shadow stuff, and me being able to hold that and love them anyway, and not take it personally, because it's not me that they're having the experience of. It's not a personal thing, right? It's a life thing. So this comes back to what we talked about in the beginning. Our body goes back to the story. It goes back to the habitual stuff that we've been doing and doing and doing. But as long as we keep doing that, we know we'll keep getting what we've always got, right? And there's that whole joke that that's the definition of insanity. It's just the definition of habit.
Mm-hmm.
Habit. And people expect to materialize the new and to create from that place. It's not going to happen, right? You can't create from density, guys. This thing here, this is matter. It's not the space where you're going to create miracles. It just isn't. You need to face it. You want to call in miracles? Jump into that alignment with the divine. That's where you create miracles. That's where you create beyond your kenning.
Mm-hmm. Aho, stream of goodness. Oh, you're so beautiful. Just as you were talking, there are a couple of things that I felt to highlight or expand or just sprinkle some magic in. And one was about the self-care. And something that's come to me recently is that there's a difference between doing self-care and receiving self-care. You can meditate, get massages, have your nails done. You can have everything. But if you aren't receiving that, it doesn't mean nothing. It doesn't mean nothing.
And you're still an empty vessel, right?
Yeah. You're still feeling that lack. So instead of focusing on the big things of what self-care means, like actually being able to receive even just 5 minutes alone.
Totally.
Receive a hot cup of tea, because I love what you say, BC. Meditating, I was just sitting with that this morning. Like I've been trying to get up, well, not trying to get up. For a while, I was getting up really early because I was to attend my girlfriend's birth and her baby was going to be born at that time. I knew her baby was going to be born at that time. So I was waking up every morning at the time he was going to be born, up until he was born. So 4:45. So I had heaps of time to meditate and just be blissed out. And recently I'm waking up later. I haven't been 100% well. And my kids haven't been either. So we haven't been getting great sleep. So I'm sleeping in till like 7. And then I'm up with the kids and I'm like, okay, I'm going to meditate. And they're like, I want breakfast. And, I want to do this and I want to do that. I'm like, no, just right now, Mummy's going to have 10 minutes to meditate. And it's just a really beautiful exchange, actually, because I'm teaching them that I'm valuing myself enough to have that 15 minutes. And I'm saying, okay, what can you do? What do you need right now? Okay, I'll give you some food so that Mummy can have 15 minutes. And what can you do for 15 minutes for yourself? It's beautiful. Or I just sit there and meditate and they crawl over me and they come and poke me. But I'm meditating, I'm still doing it, and I'm still receiving that. And I get to receive them so much more in those moments. But just to, if before trying to load yourself up with trying to be this wonderful person at self-care or loving yourself, just being able to receive a small level of love, receive, going out and having a chat with your friend, or receive having enough time just to go for a walk and smell flowers, or whatever it is that you can, that's already there, just to receive that fully first. Just something that really, and then the alignment you were talking about, like the alignment is just so, because what love is for Vanessa and what love is for Daria and what love is for me is so different, right? And the language that we receive of what God's grace is, then it's so different. So don't try and emulate someone else, but find that alignment for yourself. And maybe that is doing a full body workout, you know, that for me it just isn't it. But I know for some people that just totally is it, you know, that fully gets them in the flow, and they are just a vessel of, you know, creation. So just like the alignment of what is it for you that gets you into that place of love. And you know, and the oils have been the number one gift for me in actually connecting with that, because I really wasn't in touch with my body before I had the oils in my life. All my needs, or what I really liked or what I really didn't like, they've really taught me about that in their own magical way, of tuning in, constantly tuning in. And so now I know, oh, I don't like that music. I like that music. Oh, I don't like having rock play in the morning. It really doesn't work for me. You know, I really love, you know, gentle movement. I really love peace. I really love, you know, I really love having my feet in clear running water. You know, just they've taught me, and they've given me this path of self-discovery, with their gentle, their gentle voices.
I mean, you know, as you were talking, you know, the essential oils, you know, this precious gift from, you know, Goddess herself. It's like I find myself in infinite gratitude. You know, Mama Earth has given these to us. The energy of creation has brought them to us, right? So you have this sacred masculine and feminine. That's that thing that, you know, the God and the Goddess coming unified as one. If they were to have babies, it's, you know, the plants and the essential oils are born from that energy of creation. Isn't that glorious? You know, let's just be kids for a minute. And, you know, it's like, oh, God and Goddess and earth and essential oils and, yum. And we anoint ourselves with them daily. And we're aromatically dressing in them daily. We're placing them on our body. This is food for our body that's good enough to eat, literally. We're feeding our largest organ, and then all the organs within, and it's dancing among the cells and in the blood and the brain. And does life get any sweeter? Seriously. You know? And what I was saying before about humans just love to complicate everything, man, just take a chill pill. Really, just go do lines of wild orange and get over yourselves. Right? It's really hard to have your grumpy decks on with wild orange in your life, remember? So go snort him. Just breathe him in and grab some frankincense and breathe them in. Just the act of that inhalation into gratitude and into love, and that space is going to alter you in an instant. Why not do it? Why stay wallowing in the quagmire of muck? Why do it? Now the lotus is born out of the muck, so it's okay. Like, you're in the muck and you take a few sniffs and you make a choice and you return to love, and bam, you're back. You're back and expanded. So we're not saying don't be there. We're not saying it's not real. It is. It's real for humans. When we rise in love, we transcend that density. Oils and the lang ylang, they come in and they dance their way into the fabric of our being. Even new tapestry into the essence of who we are, breath by breath, moment by moment, day by day. It's a choice. It's a choice. So I ask you, what do you choose? What do you choose in on? Do you choose to rise in love? Do you choose expansion? Do you choose in so that the wings of your heart unfurl? Do you choose this bridge, this beautiful rainbow bridge of love between your upper heart and this heart chakra here, to just come into this harmony together? What do you choose? What legacy do you choose to create for now, for this next generation and the generations to come? How are you making a difference? How are you serving? That beautiful statement of, I'm here, I'm present, I'm standing in the presence of love, of divine grace. How can that serve you? How can I be a vessel of your love, your grace, your peace, your joy, your wonder, that I may bring others to that state?
Thank you, beautiful. Divine, that is the perfect way to end this beautiful call. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. I didn't even know the circumstances. So I'm sending so much love and gratitude to Paul and Ariel for their flexibility and their understanding. And can you give them a big kiss and hug from me, please?
The Ariel just loves you so much. It was a no-brainer. She's like, okay, for Anastasia, mama. It was like, it was all okay.
Bless her. Oh.
It's that moment of choice though, isn't it? Yeah, like if I was carrying that, she would have felt that as well. So it's, I just want to end this call on reminding you guys that it's going to keep happening. Like chaos and mayhem reigns. If we allow it to, it will just stand as queen and king over our lives, and we can just choose in on an expanded solution to really stand that for us, so that that impacts everyone. So thank you all for having me. Thank you for joining. Anastasia,
beautiful.
For creating magic with me, sister. I love you so much.
I love you too, and thank you for weaving with me in this beautiful space. So appreciate your love and wisdom and presence. Your presence is so potent. Thank you all for showing up. It's been so fun to have you all here. Look at you all. Sending you so much love for your Monday, your magical Monday. This is a very magical time in the doTERRA land.
Oh my goodness, we got some yummy stuff to announce this month.
Yay.
Yes, lots of good stuff. Wait for it all, everyone. You're going to be totally inspired. Okay. Love you all.
So much love.
Deepest sleep. Angels bless your stay tonight and always.
Blessings. Bye-bye.
Blessings.